There's a particular look that people get when they sit down in my dental chair. I have seen it thousands of times across 20 years and counting, and it never changes. The mouth says one thing, the eyes say something completely different. The mouth says, I'm fine. It's just a checkup, routine, no big deal. And their eyes say, please don't find anything. Please tell me everything is okay. Please let me walk out of here without any new information that will require me to do something about it. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dr. Meghna Dasani. This is The Making of Her. Today, I am going to tell you what 2 decades in dentistry has taught me about why smart people delay the decisions that matter the most, and why the dental chair might be the most honest mirror most of us will ever sit in. In 20 years of clinical practice, I have identified 2 kinds of patients. And before I tell you what those 2 kinds are, I want you to know that I love both of them. I have been both of them. This is not about judgment. This is about recognition. The first kind hears information and metabolizes it into action. I tell them, here's what is happening. These are your options. Here's what I recommend. And they say, okay, let's get this done. Let's get it scheduled. It's important I understand it. They might ask questions. I want them to ask questions. Good questions, important questions. But the questions serve the decision. They are gathering data. They are gathering what they need in order to move forward. The information goes in, it gets processed, and it produces a next step. The second kind hears information and metabolizes it into more questions. Not questions that serve a decision, but questions that postpone one. How common is this? What are the statistics? What would happen if we just watched it? Is there a more conservative approach? Can I get a second opinion? Yes, absolutely. Can I think about it and call you next week? Absolutely. See, every one of these questions sounds responsible, prudent even. But here's what I have learned after watching this play out thousands of times. The second patient, they don't have a knowledge deficit. They have a certainty addiction. They're looking for a level of assurance that does not exist in the real world. They want to know before they commit, and that the outcome will be exactly what they want. And that guarantee, let's be honest, nobody can offer it. Not me, not any doctor, not even life. By the way, if you know me and you have tuned into The Making of Her or the Healthy Sleep Revolution podcast, you know that this is not about patience. Now here's another thing. Let's talk about cavities, right? Here's the thing about a cavity. It does not care about your feelings. It is not affected by your decision timeline. It does not pause while you research or consult or think about it or wait until after the holidays. A cavity is physics. It is chemistry. It is biology doing what biology does, which is progressing. And while you are in the thinking phase, that cavity is in the doing phase, is it not? It is not thinking about getting worse. It's getting worse quietly, reliably, without any regard for how busy you are or how overwhelmed you feel or how much you wish it would just resolve itself. This is where I need you to make the jump with me. From the dental chair to the rest of your life. Remember when I said earlier, this is not about patience or dentistry? This is it. Because the decisions that you have been putting off, they're cavities, not metaphorically. They operate on the same principle. That promotion conversation you have not yet initiated, that's a cavity. It's not sitting still while you prepare for it. The dynamics around it are shifting. Someone else is positioning. Your manager is forming impressions based on who shows up and who waits. That team member who is not performing and you keep hoping that they will figure it out on their own, that is also a cavity. Every week that you delay that conversation, the pattern deepens. The team notices. Resentment builds in the people who are carrying that extra weight. I've been there. And the underperformer, they have no idea that anything is wrong because you have not told them. The business idea that you've been noodling on for 2 years, the exit strategy you know is right, but it feels scary. The boundary you need to set with a client who drains you, cavities, all of them, and they are progressing while you think. So why do we wait? See, I have watched brilliant women delay decisions that would change their lives. And the reasons they give fall into 3 distinct categories. I call them disguises because they look like virtues, but they actually function as avoidance. Disguise number 1, research. Oh, I just need more information. This is the most socially acceptable form of procrastination in existence. Nobody can criticize you for wanting to be thorough. Nobody will call you out for wanting to be informed. And so the research continues. And I say research in air quotes, right? Another book. Oh, let's listen to another podcast episode, another conversation with a different friend who did something similar. Meanwhile, you already have enough information to decide. You had enough 3 weeks ago. The research is not serving the decision anymore. It is serving the delay. I watched this happen in my chair. A patient with a cracked tooth will ask me to send them articles about the procedure. Send me the photos so I can share these with my spouse and my mother. Ask, what do the latest studies say? We'll bring in printouts from medical websites. And I genuinely respect that impulse. An informed patient is a better one, no doubt about it. But when that research phase stretches past the point of usefulness, we have now crossed from due diligence into something else. Something that feels responsible, but it's actually fear, dressed up in reading glasses. Disguise number 2, timing. It's not the right time. This is so masterful because it contains an embedded promise. I'm going to do it, just not now. The timing is not right. Maybe after the quarter ends, after the kids go back to school, after my kid graduates, after I get through this busy stretch, after. The thing about timing is that it is never perfect. I waited to buy my practice until the timing was right. And then day 1 blew up in my face. You know about it, right? The timing was terrible. It was also exactly right. Because if I had waited for perfect conditions, I would have waited forever. And then someone would own that practice today. Yikes. Perfect timing is a myth invented by people who are afraid to start. Adequate timing? Now that's real. And adequate timing actually looks like you have enough information, you have enough resources, and enough courage to survive getting it wrong. That is the bar. Adequate, not perfect. Disguise number 3, and this is the one that breaks my heart. Consultation. Let me talk to my insert significant other, my husband, my wife, my spouse, my parents, my best friend, whoever that may look like. Let me run it by my mentor. Let me see what my friend thinks. Look, collaboration is beautiful. Getting perspective is wise. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I literally believe in the power of outside perspective. But there is a difference between seeking counsel and seeking permission. And for a lot of women that I work with, what looks like consultation is actually outsourcing the responsibility of the decision. Because if you decide and it goes wrong, then it's on you, isn't it? But if 3 other people agreed that it was a good idea, well, then it's a shared failure. The pain then distributes differently, except it does not. Not really, because it is still your life, your career, your practice, your family. And at 3 in the morning, when it is just you and the ceiling, you staring at it, knowing that 4 other people thought it was a good idea does not make the ceiling any less vast. I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you about a moment that happens in my operatories that I have never talked about publicly before. not because it's a secret, but because I did not realize its significance until I started doing this work. There is a moment right after I deliver a diagnosis, right after I say, here's what I found and here's what I recommend, where the patient's entire body answers before their mouth does. I can see it. The shoulders either release or they climb towards their ears. The hands either open or they grip, they clench those armrests. And the breathing, it either settles or it stops. And in that moment, before a single word is spoken, I already know. I know if this person is going to take the next step or if they're going to disappear for 8 months. I know if they're going to let me help them or if they're going to fight the information I just gave them. The body decides before the brain catches up every time. And here's why I'm telling you this. You have a version of that moment in your own life. There is a decision that's sitting right in front of you right now, and your body has already answered. You know it. You feel it. There is a direction that your gut has been pulling you, and the only reason you have not followed it is because your brain will not stop generating counter arguments. Your brain is doing its job. It is supposed to generate counter arguments. That's what brains do. But counter arguments are not wisdom. They're noise. And learning to distinguish between the two, I believe, is the single most important skill a high-achieving woman can develop. There is something else that I learned in the dental chair that I want to share with you, and it is this. The patients that say yes quickly, they're not less careful. They're not reckless. They are not ignoring risks. They have simply made a prior decision that most people never make, which is this. They have decided in advance that when a professional they trust gives them a recommendation, they're going to act on it. Unless they have a specific, articulable reason not to, not a feeling, not a vague discomfort. There's an actual reason. They have pre-decided. And that pre-decision is the most powerful momentum tool I have ever encountered. Think about what it would mean to operate that way in your career, your life. Instead of treating every decision as a fresh crisis that requires a full investigation, you create a framework, a set of principles, a filter. And when a decision lands in front of you, you run it through the filter. Does this align with my values? Does it move me towards where I want to go? Do I have a specific reason not to do it? If the answers are yes, yes, no, then you move. You don't workshop it for 3 months. That is what So What does, by the way. It is the pre-decision. When your brain starts spinning its catastrophic scenarios, so what is the filter? So what if it is hard? So what if it is imperfect? So what if someone judges you? Do you have a specific articulable reason not to move? No? Then move. One more thing about the dental chair, and then I promise I will let you go. After every procedure, there is a recovery period. Something is tender, something sore, something needs time to heal. And during that period, it is normal to wonder if you made the right call. It's normal to feel discomfort and interpret it as a sign that something went wrong. It's normal to touch that spot with your tongue 12 times an hour and think, is it okay? Is this how it's supposed to feel? And it almost always is. See, the discomfort is not a sign that the decision was wrong. It is a sign that something is healing, something is changing. And change, even change that you choose, even change that you wanted, it feels tender at first. Your decisions work the same way. The discomfort that follows a brave choice is not regret. It is adjustment. It is the feeling of a life rearranging itself around a new reality. And that rearrangement, it is supposed to feel unfamiliar. Unfamiliar is not the same as wrong. A different way of looking at it, if we were to rearrange the furniture in our living room, those first couple of nights, if we woke up and didn't turn the nightlight on, we're bound to run into the edge of the sofa or the corner of the couch or whatever else it is that has not been there prior. Is that wrong? Not really. We're just needing to learn and acclimatize around that newness. So here's my prescription. Doctor to doctor, doctor to patient, mentor to mentee, woman to woman. Stop trying to think the cavity away. It has never worked in my chair. It has never worked in your life. Find that decision, feel the fear, and lean into it. Move anyway. You can adjust later. You can course correct. You can call me from the recovery room and tell me it hurts. I will be there, but you gotta get in the chair first. Next week, I am going to talk about something that might surprise you. I am going to talk about the woman who cannot and will not celebrate, who wins and then immediately starts bracing for the fall. If that sounds familiar, do not miss it. As always, if this resonated, share it with a friend, leave me a review. I will see you next week.